Yo, what's going on everyone, it's Cummina here with you with another video from the Division, and today I wanted to bring you my frontline build. Now there's been a lot of talk around these builds and people using them, so we'll get cracking and I'll show you my build. As mentioned, I am going to be showing you my frontline build. Now, if anyone doesn't know what the frontline build is, basically a two set bonus gives you 15% protection from elites. The third set gives you 30% ballistic shield health, and then the fourth talent allows you to use an SMG with the equipped ballistic shield, but it does reduce the SMG crit hit chance down to 0%. But we'll get cracking with my build and I'll show you how I've come to these figures. Okay, so first of all we'll start off with the weapon that I use. I do run with an MP7 on this, but obviously any SMG that you wish to use, your personal preference, you can. But on my build I run my MP7 with a deadly, vicious and brutal. Now if we look at the first piece, which is the vest. Now my vest here is rolled on 1184 in stamina, it has 6447 health and it has 1211 armor along with 49% ammo capacity. Next up we'll just go on to my mask. Now essentially skill power is not really needed at all with this build, and you can turn it around should you wish to add more DPS or toughness, but this build is more just about being a focus fire build and taking away the attention from your group. So on this build here I have 1434 on of firearms on my mask, 9970 skill power and the mine attribute then of 15% disorient resistance. Next up again now is the knee pads. You can see on here it has 1396 stamina and I've rolled armor on here. It does come with increased kill XP, 28% burn resistance and 33% bleed resistance. The backpack of choice I use here is the specialised backpack. Now there are other options so you can go with this build, and I have tried many. Some people go with the full frontline build and then to final measure. However, I found because this build is a lot better in terms of PvE, but you can still use it in PvP, and I'll show you later on towards the end of the video some of my PvP play with this. I did want to try and just get that little bit of skill power on there in terms of my heals of when I need to use them. So my specialised backpack there is rolled on stamina. It does come with 942 armor and again ammo capacity, so you always want to get your ammo capacity as your minor attributes on your vest and your backpack. And like I said, the specialised backpack adds 200% of your firearms and stamina into skill power. So obviously the more firearms or stamina that you have, then the more skill power that you can look to get. Next on here is my gloves. Now I have rolled my gloves on stamina instead of firearms, and I know a lot of people will roll firearms on their gloves, but like I said, it's not all about the DPS that you want to go for on this build, because you want to be able to take as much damage as possible in terms of your shield, and if your shield gets down or if you get flanked. Now on this it does come with 5.5% critical hit chance. It's got 964 SMG damage and then 9% damage to elites. Now, the reason that I have in this spot here in terms of the holster is my Predator's Mark holster is because of the armor that it has on there. Like I said, you want to try and get this build as much armor as you possibly can in terms to help give you that also added protection, which trust me does come in very handy. So on here I've just used the holster that I've got because it does have high armor. Now you can change any of these builds around here in terms of what's better for yourself, whether you wanted to have a different piece for your chest piece or your mask or your knee pads or your gloves, but that is my build there and what I use. Now in terms of my mods that I have on here, so I'm making sure that everything in terms of the first slot is rolled on armor, and then my last slots here you want to try and get ballistic shield health or resilience in terms of damage, because this will help you in terms of the damage that your shield can take before it does go down. Now next on we'll move on to my talents and what I run with on this build. Okay, so in terms of the skills that I've got here, I do use the overdose, which does grant me the heal. And then the shield that I use here is the assault shield. Now, the reason I use the assault shield is because it reload speed is faster, it gives you better accuracy, better knockback, and weapon increase in terms of damage. And as you can see on there, my health total on my shield is a 596,841. It gives me a 20% damage increase, 10% damage resistance, but a 200% damage increase, and the cooldown speed there is 26.40 seconds. Now if we just look at the talents that I do use, so in this update we do seem to be using a lot more medkits in terms, because of the heals take a lot longer to come back. So I have got rid of triage. Now I do run with adrenaline, which does give using the medkit when not at full health receives an overheal. I then also use critical save, so a medkit during low health to increase damage resistance by 40% for 10 seconds. And combat medic that I think everybody should be running with in this update, uses a medkit near allies to heal group members and proxies within 20 meters by 40%, so that does come in handy. Now on this build, because your critical hit chance is reduced down to 0, I would recommend running this one with precision. Now the reason that I say this precision, headshotting a hostile pauses them for 10 seconds. Now that is a way that you can get around for putting your crit hit damage down on the enemies. Also as well, if somebody in your team is running with a pulse as well, then you can get rid of that and then maybe use on the move here, which basically killing a hostile while moving reduces incoming damage by 30% for 10 seconds. So like I said, all this build is mainly about, it's not about the firearms and the DPS, so forget about that. It's about your toughness and your stamina and where you want to be, because you're going to be taking the brunt of the damage away from your team, especially in the PvP. The enemies are going to focus a lot more on you. And also in PvP, you know, you're going to have people trying to shoot your shields or trying to get behind you. So if you do back yourself into that corner, you want to make sure that shield can take the damage. And if for whatever reason it does go down, you've got enough protection there to survive until your shield comes back up. Now, if you do have a look here at my survivability in terms of this build, because I have gone on the toughness, my max health is at 211,557. And at the moment I'm running at 54.49% armor mitigation in terms of damage. Now again, with a little bit of tweaking, you could probably get that up a little bit higher, but I do find that this build overall is strong and I really do enjoy it. So if you are thinking about making a frontline build, then here is just some ideas for you in terms of showing my build. I really think it's a good fun build. I've enjoyed it in both PvE and PvP. Yeah, so keep watching now and I'll show you some of the action in terms of my build being used. But if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a like. If you have any comments that you would like to change or any questions you have in terms of the build, just drop a comment below and I'll get back to you. Well, thanks for watching, agents, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.